Hello everyone, this is Lye Yosh. Welcome back to Life Study Library. Today I'm personally pleased with the things that I have to say in this video, and you might be able to join me in this happy dance. But before I do that, let me change the mic setting a bit. I feel like my voice is a little too soft. Okay, I think this is better. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Um, so yeah, Today I have a special happy news. And even if you're not able to implement this correctly, you might be able to pass this to your children if you're planning to have kids or if you already have kids. Yeah, so if you don't have kids at this moment but are planning to, you might be able to bring a lot of fortune to your children. Welcome to Life Study Library. In this channel, I'm going to be talking about these interesting scientific and psychological information by implementing scientific studies and research. So if you're interested in watching this video and want to watch more of my past and my future content, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, Life Study Library. And yeah, that's about it. Alright, thank you so much for doing that. And now, enjoy the video. Hold on a second, guys. My neighbor's being really loud next door. Can you guys hear that? They're like brushing something. Okay, whatever. Okay, so I'll just cut to the chase real fast. What is the secret about having children with more chances than other kids to succeed? Do they have to do something, or do they have to be born with a talent or something? This has to do with the month that they are born in. The organization, the National Center for Child Health and Development, on February of this year, has conducted and published a study focusing on a child's development using a stunning number of 16,627 Japanese infants. And according to the study, they found that kids who are born during winter tend to have a faster mobile development than kids who are born during other seasons. And additionally, the same group has a tendency to learn and perform basic athletic activities like sitting down or walking by themselves. And the reason why I'm happy about this finding is because I was born during none other than December, right in the middle of the winter season. And this is a personal research, but according to my parents, I was able to sit down and crawl before I turned one. Well, in actuality, rather than crawling, I guess I was just pulling myself with my arms. But I feel like that's harder than crawling, so that counts, I guess. And this is pretty unrelated, but I walked for the first time in New York City. A lot of the detailed memories are missing from my life events, so I'm not completely sure about these, so I'm taking all these with a grain of salt. But one thing that my dad told me was that, by the way, I'm using his words, they're not mine. One thing that my dad told me that he felt was creepy was that when I was about one, he saw me reading P.D. Eatsman's Go Dog Go out loud. And the reason for this, he speculated, was because my dad read this book to me as a bedtime story, and it was like my favorite book of the time. So he read it multiple times. He read it so many times that I actually memorized the words. And what's more is that I wasn't just mouthing the sounds I remembered. I was even turning the page at the right time, meaning that I understood where and when I was supposed to say the words. That was a little side story about my early life. I know it was a little creepy, but keep listening, please. But yeah, are children born during the winter times? Do they actually have this advantage compared to children born during other seasons? That's the story we'll talk about today. And by the way, there's also been a study on speech productions for these babies. And those who recognized their mothers, those who said, Mama, these babies, the researchers found, tend to be girls. So it's speculated that girls tend to start speaking earlier than boys. And yeah, that was just a random side info, but back to the main topic. So the details for this study is published in a science article, The Journal for Pediatrics, which was published in February of this year, I believe. I had the link to it down in my description. So If you don't trust my words, then go ahead and check it out for yourself. Okay, so first of all, you all need to know the existence of developmental milestones. This is pretty much a questionnaire used for the purpose of determining specific stages of the infant's early lives and figuring out their overall developmental stages. So, for example, if you play with the baby for this amount of time during the first year of birth, the baby will have a very high chance of learning how to laugh by this age of its life. Something like that. This example shows a physical development, but it goes without saying that it affects its verbal abilities, mental abilities, pretty much all of their traits. Essentially, it records their developmental activities, and you can record and review when these things happen in great detail. The research team, starting from 2017, has used an app version of this recording device to record these developments, and they have sampled about 700,000 babies and just about 5 million cases. Yeah, talk about big data, huh? And then they have collected the samples that I talked about earlier, the 16,727 infants, and they researched by looking for specific baby activities like rolling over during sleep, waving their hands, following specific movements with their eyes, also showing interest towards toys, sitting down, crawling, standing up with or without holding onto something, walking, trying to voice something, actually speaking words, laughing, stuff like these. The researchers used these specific activities to look for any individual characteristics among these babies. And to be more specific, the researchers focused on babies developing these behaviors based on their gender, their nutritional intake habits. So, did their mother mainly fed them by breastfeeding, or was it powdered milk, or was it a mix of both? The researchers hypothesized that these three components, gender, season of birth, and nutritional habits, if these three components affected their physical or verbal developments in any way. As a result, they found out that out of the total 20 items, there were a seasonal difference in the development of the following items: rolling over, sitting down, crawling, standing while holding onto something, walking while holding onto something, standing by themselves, and walking by themselves. For these physical activities, there were differences in how fast the infants engaged or learned, depending on which season they were born in. And according to the study, compared to babies who are born during summer, babies who were born during the winter showed a faster development in the list of activities I introduced just now. And I am so happy to discover this because I was born in December, right in the middle of winter season. So, those who are listening to this, who were also born during the winter times, join me in my happy dance. No? Not interested? Okay, that's fine. But anyways, back to the topic. So, according to this study, the babies who were born during the winter times showed a faster developing speed on these 7 behavioral items. And additionally, another part of the research studied the language development of the babies, which showed that there was a difference in developmental speed between boys and girls, as boys tend to have a slower development speed compared to girls in this field. It was girls who started speaking actual language and words. So girls did it before boys, according to the result of this study. As for me, according to my parents, they don't completely remember the exact moment, but they think I was about 1.5 years old when I spoke my first word. And get this, according to my parents, my first ever spoken word was tire, like the tire of a car. And according to them, the reason why this happened was because they think that during that time, even though I started walking around this time, I was still not able to walk completely straight. So I was a bit wobbly. So yeah, I was basically still practicing how to walk, and there was a car parked next to me. And I saw the thing that was right at the eye level of my height at the time, which was the tire of that car. And my parents think that the information of the word tire, like Tire, sparked itself in my brain. And my brain was like, oh my god, it's a tire! And the word traveled through my head and shot itself out of my mouth and became my first ever spoken word. Anyway, back to the topic. In terms of language development, babies who recognize their mothers, or any other word, I guess, babies can say whatever they want. Those who develop this trait at the age of 1.5 years old, which is statistically a slower development, for these babies, 8% of them were girls compared to 15% being boys. So, like how I said earlier, girls usually accomplish this before boys, according to this study. But that doesn't mean you should get cocky, because just being born during the winter doesn't guarantee your success, obviously, because there are much greater factors in your success other than the season you were born in. Stuff like studying, getting into good schools and jobs, your personality matching with the right environment, the people you hang out with, and mere luck. But the point of this video is that the season you were born in might earn a spot among these possible factors in your success in life, and it is very much a factor to be considered with. So that was pretty much the entirety of today's study. And the good thing about these types of study is that, and actually the multiple good stuff about it is that, number one, it usually takes in a sample size of like humongous numbers, like the amount of over 10,000 samples. That alone cannot be seen in any regular science studies. It usually takes like within a range of like few hundred to few thousand. And this big amount for today's study is good because the more sample size the study has, it usually means it's more reliable because it shows that the result gained by the study will most likely apply to a greater amount of people worldwide. So the info noted here can be implemented wonderfully if considering how we estimate the growth habits and the tendencies of our babies. If we want to know what kind of personality they have and what effect these personalities will probably have in their lives. I'm fairly confident to say that the reliability of infos like these are highly important, and this study in particular might be the first to do so in this type of research, considering the month a child is born and the possibility of them being successful in the future. I honestly think it really is the first ever conducted study for this topic that has this many sample size. And according to the study, kids who are born during winter have a higher chance of learning these baby activities faster than kids who are born during other seasons, and ultimately have a higher chance of succeeding when they get older and grown up. Unfortunately, this study only collected Japanese infants as the samples, so the results might differ among children of other races. Like maybe Caucasian children might not develop the same exact way as the children in this sample or something like that. Further research is definitely a must in solving this important issue. The aim of the study, according to the researchers, is to be able to detect any children that might be disabled and was not able to develop at the same speed as others, and assist them in their growth and their prosperity overall in their lives. I don't have any kids as of now and are not planning to have one anytime soon, but looking at this entire study puts a smile on my face. I must thank my parents deeply for creating me during the winter times. So that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Like always, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Life Study Library, and like this video if you enjoyed me talking about fun and helpful science. And now let's talk about the video I'm going to force feed to you. JK. But if you liked what I talk about in this video, you should check out my other video called "This is the activity that makes kids smarter." I'll put the link to it in my description, so check that out. So if you're a parent, it seems pretty natural for you to want your children to succeed, or you simply want the best for them. So what you might do to make this dream come true is to put them in, I don't know, like cram schools in hope of them being academically successful, make them join organizations like student government or other volunteer organizations in order to provide success to them in a social sense, things of this nature. And usually, in order to join these organizations, you'll most likely have to go through speeches or presentations or some kind of an interview, I guess. Things that are related to public speaking. And you're probably aware that the eternal enemy for public speaking is filler words, or the use of filler words. If you're like me and have to frequently pause or have unnecessary awkwardness in your speech. You would think that your speech will be ruined because of it. If you're concerned about that, worry not, as I have a video for you talking about how using these filler words, ums or uhs, is a sign that your brain is being activated to the fullest and you're actually encouraged to welcome this occurrence. It is not only a natural thing, but it is also a beneficial thing to happen. And if you want to know why this is the case, go watch my video titled the truth about filler words used during speeches. And if you're still not convinced, I recommend another video from my channel called Effective Presentation Techniques. See, stop, and say technique. This is a more method-based video talking about this presentation or speech technique that you can use. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but if you're trying to prove to the audience that you are the most fitting candidate to that position, or even when you're trying to talk to your boss in hopes of getting a raise or something, you might be able to get a lot of help from using this technique. The links to both of these two videos will be in my description section, so go check that out. And now let's talk about the recommended book of the day. Today I recommend to you a book called Speak Like Churchill, Stand Like Lincoln, 21 Powerful Secrets of History's Greatest Speakers by James C. Humes. I'm pretty sure I've already talked about this book in another video, but yes, I don't think I need to explain to you that these two men are probably the world's most known public speakers who have both successfully captivated their audiences by various presentation techniques that are often ignored or unlearned, but can have massive impacts if correctly used. If you want to know these techniques, I recommend you give it a read. And that's pretty much it from me. I've been your host, Lye Yosh. You've been listening to Life Study Library. Thank you so much for listening and supporting this channel, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!